What the hell? It's a goddamn cougar in the car.
Oh, there's a cougar.
But we are gonna do a it's a super flex mock draft. How many rounds? 12 or 15?
15.
15. And yeah, we're gonna do a startup, and I am actually gonna remember to hit screen record this time, so you guys are gonna actually be able to watch the mock draft unfold. But yeah, I mean, Ben, this is your first episode. How do you feel? Are you ready? You excited? You nervous?
Yeah, introduce yourself to the world, buddy.
Yeah. You're famous now.
Ben Riley. Yeah. What did you say? I was the guest star.
Yeah, well, no, hold on. I said you're just the guest. You have to earn the guest
my star.
Yeah, you have to earn your star.
Nice. Yeah, Ben Riley. Appreciate it. The opportunity to come on and do this mock draft with you guys. Been watching all the episodes, enjoying all the content, and sharing it, and want people to subscribe and support you guys.
You have that real Southern accent. I love it. That mock draft. Yeah. That mock draft. Did you pick up on it, Alex? I know you've been out of the South for a while.
No, he's just embracing being in Louisiana now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, so for anybody watching that doesn't know, he's obviously in our league. But he's my brother's best friend and been basically an older brother to me since I was a little kid. So I'm stoked to be in these leagues with him now, which we did the ReDraft league for years, and then we just started getting into Dynasty over the last couple of years. So yeah, dude, I'm stoked to have you.
Yeah, it was a sketchy introduction at first, because when I first met him, it was in that Dynasty league we were in, and then he just like ruined it real quickly by fucking everybody. Or no, it wasn't everybody. It was mostly his
all
uncle.
Them trades.
Yeah, it was his uncle, and he just
your father-in-law, right?
Or father-in-law, whoever the hell it was, and he just kept spanking that ass.
Hey, first off, it wasn't me. He was making trades with his own son. Like, I wasn't involved in those trades.
You was fucking that man over. You could have at least bought him dinner first. But
was that the Tyreek Hill fiasco? That's what we'll call it.
Oh boy. Got him for like a bag of chips and Hunter Renfro.
And then remember, he traded the Hall for Zach City too. Or no, that was his name, New Zach City or some shit. It was something so stupid. I'm curious. I would love to get him on the podcast to see how he's doing nowadays. Like, is he still a Zach Wilson truther, or is he like, I mean, I guess if you're a Jet fan, you got to be happy regardless.
He's got to be an A-Rod fan right now, right?
Yeah, he's super stoked that A-Rod went there. I think teaming him up with Garrett Wilson.
Man, that kind of makes me want to root against the Jets now. I'm not gonna lie. Just I pray for his downfall. But but we're gonna get into the mock draft, but hopefully we can get Ben in for a couple more episodes, make it a little bit more of a kind of guest thing, and then he can become more of a guest star, maybe become an actual star at some point. But let me go ahead, bring up the mock draft. And let me start screen recording.
Let me know when you're ready and I'll start it.
Screen recording. Where do I say screen recording? Oh wait, here we go. Screen share.
Yeah.
I'm gonna exit all of this out. Okay. I think we're screen recording now. Yeah, we're definitely screen recording. There we go.
Full screen that bad boy.
Boom. Sweet. All right. Now we're going. We're making progress, baby. Yes. Let's go. That was a little weird.
All right. You ready to get started?
Yeah. Somebody start it up. Y'all are being so quiet, Ben. You're not making a good first impression.
Oh man, this is going way too fast for me.
All right.
Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. I think it's the right quarterbacks, but a very odd order. I probably would have taken them in the opposite direction. I would have gone Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Hurts.
Yeah, I don't know why Joe Burrow went 102. That's a little weird, but throw that up to computer. So, but mine's going to be pretty easy. So far I have Justin Herbert, I have Justin Jefferson, I have Jamar Chase, Lamar Jackson, but really there's only 3 players right here that I feel like you have to consider. It's Justin Herbert, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. So I'm actually just going to do something a little bit different because me and Alex did a draft recently, a startup draft where I drafted Justin Jefferson right here. And usually that's probably where I'm going to go 9 times out of 10. But since it's super flex, it's a mock draft, mix it up a little bit, see what we got. So we had Jamar Chase going after that, though. And now, Ben, you are on the clock. Do not humiliate yourself, please.
Oh, man. Is this where I'm supposed to take a kicker?
Yeah, you got to go ahead, take Plaxico Burress.
I think Tom Brady's still out there.
Yeah, Michael Vick.
Or Peyton Manning.
Michael Vick.
I don't know if Matt knows this, but I actually went to high school with Plexico.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, he's from our area.
That's not something I would brag about. Make your pick, Ben.
Man,
all right, Ben. So talk us through what you're thinking right now.
Yeah.
So obviously super flex, I'd like to take a quarterback, but I think taking the number 1 receiver in the league, Justin Jefferson's the way to go there.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to look at the point system though in here. Not sure if it matters too much if this was PPR or what, but
it's PPR and it's 4 points per passing touchdown, no points for rushing attempts, passing attempts, or anything like that. So pretty regular league overall, other than being super flex.
Right. I think this first round's pretty easy. It's a super flex league. Majority of the players are going to be quarterbacks, and then you're going to have like your Jamar Chase, your Justin Jefferson. I would probably say AJ Brown over CD Lamb right there. But it's going to be this first round's pretty plain and simple. There's not much in depth that you really have to go about it.
Right.
But for Alex, you probably have one of the more interesting picks because now all your top quarterbacks are pretty much gone. Well, not all of them. You have Justin Fields left. So maybe that's somebody you can target. He's that only person that has that like elite rushing upside other than like a Lamar Jackson. So, right. Or are you going to go somebody I've seen you take a couple times, Bijan. So what's your thought process right here?
So I think kind of like you, I want to go a different route and see how my team turns out. I actually really enjoyed it when I took Bijan and looked at how my team kind of unfolded. To be honest with you, I'm not a huge Justin Fields fan long term.
Well, you did trade him away. That's right.
Yeah. So I'm not
flag on the play there. Flag on the play there. Unnecessary roughness on my Buckeyes. Leave my Justin Fields alone.
Wait. Do you have his jersey on right now?
No, it's just
Is that CJ
Buckeye.
Stroud? Oh, that's not a real jersey. What a poser. But
and it's Christmas present.
So why aren't you a fan of Justin Fields? Is it just like you don't believe in him as a passer, Alex?
No, I really don't. And they obviously got him a load of weapons and everything. So, this is his time to do it. But the reason why I'm not going to go AJ Brown here. Reason being is I think that I can get long-term similar production from another guy here. You know what I mean? And, right. If Bijan was still there, I probably would have gone Bijan. I really would love to go Anthony Richardson right here, but I'm going to go double up with Garrett Wilson because I think he's going to have a top 5 season. So for me, I'm looking at I think Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase are going to have the top 2 wide receiver spots this year locked up. I think AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson find their way somewhere in the top 5 from there.
Yeah, no, we don't see you go double on the wide receivers pretty often. But that's the trend really nowadays, or at least this season, is that like you've seen the running backs get pushed down further and further. So we've had your more quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson, Deshaun Watson, our first tight end, Travis Kelce. And Ben, you are back up now for your second pick with Justin Jefferson in your first. So you're gonna go double wide receiver, or are you gonna take a running back? Or we got Christian McCaffrey, Breece Hall, coming back from that ACL. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think it's too early to take Breece Hall with the injury. And since I
Agreed.
took the number one wide receiver in the league, I might as well go ahead and take the number one running back there with CMC. I think
I like that.
as long as he continues to stay healthy here, which he proved he could do last year. Fingers crossed. I think he got another good 4 years out of him at that top running back spot.
No,
See,
I like that.
sorry, real quick before you get
Make
to
your
that.
pick. Make your pick, man.
I really like CMC, and I actually considered him in the second round over Garrett Wilson. The only thing with him for me, I was looking at some stats earlier, is when Elijah Mitchell was healthy, he averaged only 10 rushes per game. And I know really his upside comes from, being on the field as a receiver as well. But 10 rushes a game is just, it seems a little low for me for a number one running back. I'm definitely taking Bijan over him. Dynasty, I'm probably still taking Jonathan Taylor over him. So he fits in there right around between him and Brees Hall. But I don't think that's a bad start at all. Because I mean, we all know Christian McCaffrey, if he has a full healthy season in that offense, that could be a lethal combo right there.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll add one more point there. I think with Brock Purdy coming back from injury, they're going to lean on that running game and maybe those short dump passes a little more as well. So I
With that
think
elbow.
I think the volume is there for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my pick. I went Amon-Ra, the Sun God Brown. So make that real easy. And I'm gonna just break down that one real quick and then go into some of the other ones. So after I really considered right here, Jalen Waddle, Chris Olave, Tyreek Hill. I mean, you've seen us do mock drafts before. You know I love all those players. But I went Amon-Ra. Like I said, I wanted to take some players I haven't really gotten before. And you got to keep in mind, Jameson has that 6-game suspension. So he is going to be out for at least 6 games. So, and during those 6 games, you have Jahmyr Gibbs. I guess, he's going to be used heavily as a pass rusher, but I mean, not pass rusher, pass catcher. But other
A
than
little
that,
light for a pass rusher.
yeah, maybe a little bit, 199 pounds. But you don't really see any other weapons outside of that. You have Sam Laporta, who's a rookie tight end, but you don't really expect much production outside of rookie tight ends. So one thing that we're gonna have to do is you're just gonna have to depend on Amon-Ra, and you already showed this or had it already seen that they have that great chemistry between him and Jared Goff. So I'm gonna continue to build on that, and I'm gonna actually continue to work on that wide receiver room and get another young stud.
Yeah, good
Who
call.
T. Higgins, I don't have to talk too much about him really, just because he's in one of the best passing offenses in the NFL, connected with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow. Yeah, you have Jamar Chase ahead of him. I would have really liked Stephon Diggs right here, or maybe even Jahmyr Gibbs, so I can get a running back in there. But I don't know if I would have wanted, 2 parts of the same offense. But if I'm going to usually do that, I want it to be part of like those explosive offenses, like the Lions, the Chiefs, the Bengals, those types of offenses. So Bryce Young went after, and then now Ben, it is back to your turn. And then after this round, we are going to get a quick break in.
Yeah, this probably won't be a popular pick, but now that we're into round 3 and I don't have a quarterback, I'm going to go with Dak Prescott here. I think he has a bounce back year. I think he threw for almost still 4,000 yards last year. I think interceptions were an issue, but I don't think Dallas leans on the run game as much as they have in the past. I think Pollard's going to be. I think Pollard's going to be catching a lot of dump passes, and I think you got Deuce Vaughn there that they're going to use as a good weapon.
Good old Ronnie Jones there too.
No, I am a big fan of like Deuce Vaughn and Tony Pollard, but and even Dak Prescott, as much as I hate the Cowboys. But I do worry about Brian Schottenheimer. I'm a Seahawk fan. Y'all know that. So like he was the Seahawks offensive coordinator for like maybe 3 years or something like that for a decent while. He was with the Seahawks, we were literally one of the run heaviest teams in the NFL. So even Mike McCarthy's come out and said, like, yeah, we want to slow the offense down. You know, we were scoring too quickly last time. So I love the pick, Dak Prescott. I think he's going to be great. I do think the interceptions will come down, but I am also kind of worried about like the overall touchdown production, because I think they may be just handing the ball off every play. Maybe not every play because it's Tony Pollard, but you know, they're probably going to end up signing somebody too, like maybe Leonard Fournette. And, you know, we can talk about that maybe after. Alex, your pick is, you know, running low too. I don't know if you see that, but if someone like Leonard Fournette were to sign on that offense, that would make me even more like, yeah, they're going to be running the hell out of that ball. Even if Leonard's not like that, you know, bell cow guy that he used to be, they're still going to use him that way. And maybe even Dalvin. That's probably something that the Cowboys, I could see really getting into. You know how Jerry Jones is, but I go ahead, guys. I know I went on a little bit, and we had some other picks go, obviously. And Alex, you took Jackson Smith and Jigbo, who you've taken like probably every single draft you're in.
Yeah, I mean, third round is probably a little soon for what I would love. If I got him in the fifth round, I'd love it, but he's not going to make it there for sure. Just so shout out to Dynasty Fantasy Flock. Well, just Fantasy Flock. And the comparisons that JSN's measurables come in are near Justin Jefferson, near Calvin Ridley, which we know how he ended up coming out in his year 2 season, and Jamar Chase. So he's somebody that I want to make sure that I get in every single league. And for me, starting off AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, AJ Brown is somebody that I could look to flip later just because he's getting a little bit older, but he's got years left. And to me, paired with Jalen Hurts, I mean, that's going to be nasty. To be honest with you, I would love to go tight end here, but I haven't loved how my drafts have gone when I go tight end early. Now I know kind of the big three with Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, and Travis Kelce, and I know TJ Hawkinson is kind of making their way in, but I don't love it. I'm looking at the quarterbacks in this range. Tua, don't love. Kyler, who knows if he's even going to play this year. Daniel Jones.
Are you gonna go quadruple wide receivers? Is that what you're saying to us?
I'm looking at running backs. I don't love Travis Etienne, Najee, Nick Chubb, Ramondre.
He's about to do it. Just
you know who I do love.
Drake London.
Drake London.
I knew it. Yeah. Quadruple wide receiver. That's an interesting strategy. I was watching the fantasy footballers episode, and they did that like with all running backs for like the first 4 rounds. And I was like, I didn't hate how that team turned out, but it was rough. So that's going to be interesting to see how your running back situation and, you know, your quarterback situation and all that, because they're going. I mean, they're going fast. You know, CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are already gone. So we actually have enough time to get through this round. So Ben, why don't you go ahead, make your pick, and then, you know, if y'all want, you can even talk a little bit about the picks that went before yours, and then we'll go ahead and take our break once we get to the 5th round.
All right. Yeah, I think we're running low on those top wide receivers here now that Alex is just snagging them all, hoping that he can flip them for 1st round draft picks later or something.
Yeah, that's 100% Alex.
Yeah, right.
So I mean, literally, as you said that though, my exact thought was I would keep Garrett Wilson, JSN, and Drake London, flip AJ Brown for a 1st, and maybe a running back like further down the line. You know what I mean? But I don't hate that approach either, because, you know, we talk about in fantasy football all the time, you got to let the board come to you, because if you're reaching for players left and right, you end up with a team that you don't love overall.
Yeah. So you went DK Metcalf. So you let, I guess, Ben kind of, let the board not come to him, or I guess I'll let you explain it, because it's your pick anyway, but go ahead, explain your DK Metcalf pick.
Yeah, I think with the addition of Jackson Smith and Jigba, that's going to free DK up a little bit from some of the double teams that he saw a lot last year. Um, and you have Lockett on the other side to spread the field as well. I think DK had something like 90 catches on almost 150 targets last year, and I think we'll see that go up a little bit. I do worry a little bit about Charbonnet coming in because I do think he's going to take a couple of those, uh, red zone targets. I think because he's such a good big back who's good at receiving. And I think Pete Carroll will use him there in the red zone a lot on little dump swing passes and stuff. Uh, um, but I think with the volume there, and I think with the pressure moving away from him, I think DK is in for a pretty big year. And being young, he's still good with for Dynasty.
Yeah. No, I'm a Seahawks guy. DK is one of my favorite players in the NFL, and DK had kind of a weird season. He had like 14 red zone targets and like I think 5 touchdowns. So they've talked a lot about this on like every podcast that you want to listen to. Fantasy footballers, Dynasty Flock, all of them. Positive touchdown regression for a guy like DK coming. So
sure.
I'm gonna make mine real quick, and then we're gonna hop into a break. Nick Chubb is just very simply one of the best running backs in the NFL. So that was very easy for me. He's not really known for his pass catching, but this is a guy who they really won't have a choice but to give him the pass catching, because who else are they going to give it to? Jerome Ford isn't going to touch the ball. Like, he's going to be a handcuff, he's going to be probably a solid handcuff, but he's not going to be someone I'm willing to depend on. So we'll get into our break, and once we come back, we'll go over some of these other picks, and then I'll get into my pick as well. So we'll be right back. And by the way, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Well, there'll be a kind of a picture everywhere now, but yeah, just make sure you like and subscribe. We will be right back. Man, y'all, welcome back. Both of y'all got the alcohol. My dude, is that whiskey you're drinking, Alex?
Yes, sir.
Damn, I should have go grab the beer. Fucking whiskey and then binge drinking is that a dirty martini?
Extra dirty.
Damn, that's what she said. But yeah, so like and subscribe, guys. We're gonna get back to this mock draft. So let's see. Start screen share. I'm figuring this shit out quicker. Let's go. I figured it out a lot quicker that time. I told you I went to college. I did. I may not show that often, but I went. So before you pause it, before you unpause it real quick, I want to talk a little bit about more about Nick Chubb, because I know I kind of breezed through it, but I was trying to get through that break. So Nick Chubb is just easily one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's so consistent, man. Like I've seen so many stats over the last couple of days that have honestly blown my mind that we don't talk about him more, like just consistently amongst those like best running backs in the NFL. Like,
yeah.
And I feel like we
best pure running back in the league,
yeah,
I think.
And I feel like we do maybe amongst in like a real NFL stance, but like he doesn't get the love that he should in fantasy. And even not as like a pass catcher in the last few years, because obviously he had Kareem Hunt. He was still one of the most consistent running backs. I don't think he's had a finish under on RB15. So like you're getting a high end RB2 with the opportunity to be an elite RB1 almost any given week, So and you guys know me. I usually don't take running backs this early. I'm just not really a fan of them because long term we're in Dynasty, obviously. So they don't last very long. And Nick Chubb is an older back. I think he's 27, right? He's kind of up there, maybe even 28. But well, here, let me just click on it real quick. Yeah, he's 27. So he is a little bit up there for a running back. So that's usually about the time where you don't want to, draft them this early. But if you do, you want to make sure that you're going to be in a win now kind of situation. So, and that's usually kind of how I like to mold my teams, is where I can contend now, but also still be able to, contend for the future and not just go all in like some people try to do. And it works out for them sometimes in Dynasty, where you can stack a lot of that older talent. but then in two years you fucking suck. So to move on off of Nick Chubb, though, we had Tua go, who is honestly an elite kind of sleeper in that category, because if he stays healthy at the 409, dude, that's a massive steal in that offense. Like if he go ahead.
I love that term, elite sleeper.
Yeah, it is. It's an elite sleeper.
If anybody fits that mold, it's Tua.
Yeah, so maybe we should trademark that, elite sleeper, because I mean, I really do think that's how he fits, and to get him at that 409, where you have a quarterback to possibly be a top 5 offense, you don't get that in the 4th round, especially not in Superflex. Kyler Murray, you kind of still buy in a little bit there long term for the talent, because we've seen it so much. We also had Tony Pollard, Najee Harris. We had Ramondre Stevenson, Derrick Henry, a little bit more running backs going. Out of that group, I know you're a fan of Ramondre, aren't you, Alex? Like,
yeah,
probably more of that group.
I didn't think he was going to get back to me. I was kind of praying a little bit, but I wanted him to be my RB1, but it is what it is. I think he has that type of upside. I mean, they didn't make any moves. I mean, me, he's on in our Dynasty League and League of Legends, and
you love him.
I was holding my fucking breath that they didn't draft Jahmyr Gibbs. And to be honest with you, had Jahmyr gone to the 2nd round, I think they probably would have gone that route.
He might have. It's very possible.
So I'm glad they didn't bring anybody in. Even if they bring in Dalvin Cook, to be honest with you, he's not going to hold up a season. So
I think Dalvin
has a mid-game slump because Dalvin goes off a bit, and then down the stretch, Ramondre's healthy. I'll take it.
Yeah. So I think Dalvin could actually be a really interesting signing there. But what about you, Ben? Out of that little group, because that's really kind of like, I guess, your last looking at the running backs. I mean, you have Deebo Samuel, but J.K. Dobbins, not Deebo Samuel, I'm sorry, Damian Pierce and J.K. Dobbins. Those are really kind of your last ones that are really interesting. And so these are like your last RB1s, I would say. So of that group, Ben, who's like your favorite? Are you a Ramondre Stevenson guy, Tony Pollard, Najee? Are you like going to keep putting the crown on King Henry's head?
I'm not high on Henry. Definitely not in Dynasty. I think this is his last year. I think after this, he's out the door. He'll end up trying to chase a ring somewhere. If anyone's even willing to take him. I mean, you see what the running back market is for Zeke and Leonard Fournette right now. So I'm sure those guys will end up on a team somewhere, just for the usage, right? But I honestly think Ramondre is probably the best back there. I think because of his pass catching abilities, especially in this PPR league.
Yeah,
I think that with Derrick Henry, he's somebody that, as we get closer to the NFL trade deadline, he's somebody that might pop up. The Bills are like, you know what, dude, we need that pop. We need, Damian Harris isn't doing it. If I'm the fucking Chiefs. I don't know if the Titans necessarily want to give that up to him, but if I'm the Chiefs or one of those guys who doesn't have, I like Pacheco, but he's a 7th round guy. I think Derrick Henry is a trade deadline guy that's going to pop up and be.
No, that's a really good point, because the Titans could very well be fucking terrible this year. So like that wide receiver room is not anything to joke about. Like, you have Treylon Burks and you have Chigga Conquo. That's it. The Kyle Phillips truthers, and I was one of them last year. You know it, Alex. I was sending you all kind of shit about Kyle Phillips.
What about Nick Westbrook-Akine?
Yeah. Who else? Don't they have Robert Woods too? Or no, he's not.
No,
there.
he's with
Texans. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a bunch of nobodies. So somebody's got to come through, and I think it could go one or two ways for Derrick Henry. And I have speaking of your Jay Cutler jersey in the background, and Jay Cutler Sigs, I have Derrick Henry, and I'm a contending team, so I'm gonna run that into the ground. I don't think I could trade really Derrick Henry, even if I wanted to, at least not for what a contending team would probably want to, receive. So. Yeah. But I still think it could go one or two ways. I think Derrick Henry could honestly still get like 1,400 yards this year. I really do, because he's a 6'4", 250-pound freak of nature. Or he could also completely flame out, maybe barely get over 1,000 or get right under 1,000 and just be hopefully a touchdown heavy guy, you know.
Yeah. I
But by the
think so. Real quick before you make your pick with
yeah, because
Derrick
I
Henry,
am ready.
y'all should send y'all should see that picture. If we can, we should post that picture of Derrick Henry and Von Miller standing next to each other.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, to be honest with you.
I don't think I've seen it, so I want one of y'all to send it to me. I want to see that.
Yeah.
But this pick was really easy for me though, and then we'll let you get into yours, Ben. But I didn't mention T.J. Hawkinson, last probably like almost top 5-ish tight end that you'll have available. But Quentin Johnson is who I went. And I mean, that's the future number 1 wide receiver likely for the Chargers. So, I mean, just to have Justin Herbert at my 105 and then be able to pair his number 1 wide receiver of the future as my number wide receiver 3. I mean, that's pretty freaking solid. I'll take that in round 5 any day and every day. So we had Dameon Pierce going next, who Alex was a massive fan of last year. We should have started this podcast last year because Alex was honestly one of the first ones to get on the Dameon Pierce train. So kudos to you for that.
Got one right finally.
But Ben, you are on the clock. What are you doing here with 25 seconds left?
Yeah, I was actually hoping that Dameon Pierce would make it to me so I could trade him to Alex because he's been trying to get him from me in our Dynasty league like every day. But I do like another running back here, and we talked about coming back from injuries and trying to take someone high.
There we go. Dynasty darling of 2022.
Yeah, but yeah, I think in the 5th round here, Javonte Williams with the new head coach there, right? I think he's in for a big season as long as he's ready at week 1. I think dynasty wise, he's going to have a heck of a career there with the old Sean Payton.
Hell yeah. I mean, I honestly, I couldn't agree more. Dynasty wise, I think his kind of, especially with how his ADP has dropped, considering to what it once was, I'm all in on really Javonte Williams long term. Sean Payton has never had worse than the 6th best rushing offense in the NFL. They're gonna run that fucking rock. And if it's not gonna be with Javonte Williams, he's gonna get some random fucking undrafted free agent out of Appalachian State Division 4 that's going to go for like 4,000 yards. Maybe not, that's a bit much. He'll run for 1,000 yards though. So get as much as the Denver backfield as you can the next few years. So after that, we had DJ Moore, we had Christian Watson, Michael Pittman, and then Alex has taken his first quarterback, Daniel Jones. So tell us a little bit about that, Alex.
Man, to be honest with you, I don't love Danny Dimes at all. But in the 5th round, a guy who, I mean, he was like white Michael Vick last year. Dude can run. He's got a couple of weapons this year. You know, they still didn't really do him justice, if I'm being honest, with the wide receivers that they brought in. Paris Campbell, you know what I mean? Like the Colts were willing to let him go.
They got Darren Waller.
Pearson, Michael Pittman.
They got Darren Waller.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs to stay healthy, obviously, but that's a big target.
100%. But when we look at the receivers, Jalen Hyatt, I mean,
supposedly running with the 3s.
God damn, dude. He might be, you know,
that's unfortunate.
If he wasn't drafted as high as he was, he'd be a cut candidate. Anyway.
I mean, he was only 3rd round. He may not be a cut candidate, but he may be Jalen Tolbert of last year, where he never touches the field.
Yeah, dude. Yep. Actually, that's a really good comparison. I like that. The other guy that I'm going to go with my first running back and quarterback here. I'm going to go with J.K. Dobbins.
I like it.
I think
I love it.
You know, the way my team's built now, I'm loaded at receiver, so I'm not going to necessarily fade it. I actually considered taking Jerry Jeudy there. And I'm gonna be 100% honest. If Christian Watson was there when I was there, I was definitely taking him. But I got a quarterback with, you know, rushing upside who's still young, and then I got J.K. Dobbins who may only have a couple years left. But we always want guys, especially running backs, who are a year removed from their ACL injury, and he started to come on late last season. to me, this is going to be a high-powered offense,
Right.
and there's going to be so many scoring opportunities. So I
So
love that I was able to get J.K. Dobbins in the 6th.
before you go into your pick, Ben, I do want to say a little bit more about J.K. Dobbins, just because I know you mentioned that he might be a little bit older, and he is, but he hasn't really played. You know, he's kind of in that Derrick Henry situation almost, to where his age almost doesn't bother me as much as like a dynasty candidate, because he hasn't played. He missed those terms, and like you said, he missed those years. So like you said, you want to give him the year after the ACL, which is now that's the year. So I'm actually a pretty big fan of J.K. Dobbins. He's a big sleeper for me in Dynasty Startup League. So I know I took up your time, Ben, but go ahead, talk a little bit about your pick and who you are going to take.
Yeah,
Ben, make your pick, and we'll take up Matt's time.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. I'm going to take a wide receiver that I have in our Dynasty League, and that's Calvin Ridley. You know, coming back from the year off, right, from his gambling suspension, which is just...
You're welcome, by the way. I gave you a
me.
fucking deal of the century for him.
What was that? DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, you know, a bunch of other folks for like a second round pick. Thanks, bro.
No, so don't make me sound like an idiot. Hold on. I gave you
Ben didn't make you sound like an idiot.
Shut the fuck up, Alex.
Trade.
I gave you a deal on that one, which is I was intent on getting a young superstar wide receiver, and so what I gave him was 2 first-round picks. I gave him DJ Moore, and I gave him Calvin Ridley, and I got Chris Olave and a second-round pick. Hey, my wide receivers were DK Metcalf, Garrett Wilson, and Chris Olave. Now I'm okay with that. So,
and shout out to the other trade, because I ended up with Justin Jefferson and your boy Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
I mean, we only start,
which is really
7
fucking
players?
annoying.
What do we start? 7 players?
Yeah.
Quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and a super flex, right? So 8 players. So, dude, I got 2 of the top receivers in the league, and I'm loving that.
Yeah, and I hate you for it. But back to the mock draft though, and a little bit off of League of Legends.
The reason why I snapped and said damn it is because I saw your pointer over Jared Goff, and I was actually hoping that I would be able to catch him on the back turn, but it looks like Geno, Kenny Pickett are all going, so he wasn't going to make it. But
yeah,
great pick, by the way.
That's exactly why I was going into it as my quarterback too, and I have Amon-Ra, so I got the double stack, and this is how I feel about stacks, honestly. So I'm gonna make my pick real quick before I go into that. So this is how I feel about
Another
stacks.
Great pick.
Yeah, you don't want to like rush for your stacks or push for your stacks. You want them to come naturally, you know, and that's exactly what happened with me. And it happened, and I love the way it happened. I got Justin Herbert at the 105, and then I didn't have to reach or, you know, push hard to go and get Quentin Johnson. He kind of just naturally fell at me towards ADP in round 5. And then look, Jared Goff the next round after getting Amon-Ra St. Brown in the second round. So getting that double stack, I think it makes fantasy football more fun. Does it really help? I don't really fucking know, but it's fun, you know, and that's one of the biggest things about fantasy football is you want to have fun. So after that, we like you said, we had Geno go, who again is a really big sleeper for me just because of the weapons he has around him. He may not be the quarterback there long term, so maybe it's more redraft sleeper, but love Geno. And then obviously Jameson, we had Dallas Goedert, Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk. And I took Miles Sanders, had to get that second running back in, and they invested heavily into him. Yeah, they invested, gave him a four-year contract. So I don't really know how it'll turn out. I wasn't a huge fan of him, honestly, just going into the league in general, but they obviously believe in him, and he's going to be my RB2, so why not? Go ahead, Ben. You are. I took your time again. Sorry, but take as much of Alex's time as
Ben,
you want to.
Ben, you can take mine.
Yeah,
Alex is selfish.
Alex is the nice guy.
Yeah, no worries. I'm going to go ahead and take Pacheco here.
I wanted Charbonnet.
I know you did. Yes. Fuck Alex. No good things for him. Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I don't think Charbonnet is a good pick right there either. But I took Pacheco.
Really?
I think. Well, I know you do, and I'm surprised you're not going to end up with him in our Dynasty League. But
because I'm not taking him at 106. No, that's a little.
I wouldn't take him at 106.
Yeah,
that's too far.
Yeah, I agree. But I think you had like somewhere in the early second or something that you traded away. I can't remember.
Well,
maybe it was one of my picks or something.
No, I did. I just didn't think he would last that far. So that's why I was like, I wanted to trade up to year 108 because I was like, that's fucking perfect if I am going to take him, or I can go with another guy that I really like that I've held from both of y'all because I know one of y'all motherfuckers going to try to take him. But yeah.
Even though he told me at 108 that he was a reach. And but anyways, so interesting fact with Kansas City, right? I think the starting running backs average like 1.9 touchdowns a game under Mahomes. So I think taking Pacheco with what he showed there in the end of the playoffs, I think it's a good start for his career as he continues there in KC in that high powered offense.
Yeah, I like what you called him Pacheco. I think it's pronounced Pacheco.
Pacheco.
I'll let it slide because I'm terrible at mispronouncing names.
Man, I was about to say, I know damn well you're not about to get on him for that.
Yeah, if you watch any of the episodes,
who's the new Colts head coach?
Oh, shut the fuck up!
All right.
If you watch any of the episodes, you know I've had issues, but I always apologize. But Alex, go ahead and make your fucking pick.
I don't like the way you said that. All right.
You're just gonna have to deal with it.
So obviously I've got, amazing wide receivers in this tier. Man, I used to love Zay Flowers. Matt, we talked about it in some of our earlier episodes, how we think it's funny because we don't agree on a lot unless it comes to football. And you sent me tape from Zay Flowers, and the first thing you said, who does it remind you of? And the first person that came to mind was Antonio Brown. Now, I want him to be Antonio Brown so bad.
That's a hard comp to make, though. Antonio Brown at his best is literally like a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Was what, a 6th round pick or something like that?
Yeah.
So
it's a hard comp to make, but it's hard not to love Zay Flowers' film.
Right. So right here, I'm kind of looking at Dalton Kincaid. Still a little too early for me. I think there's actually some decent tight ends still left here. Zay Flowers. I love Jahan Dotson, but who I'm actually going to go with to fill out my RB2 spot is Cam Akers.
I like it. That's a nice pick.
Yeah, dude. I mean, everybody's so down on Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford, all those guys because, I mean, they won a Super Bowl and then got smashed with injuries.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl hangover was probably one of the worst we've seen in a while. You know what I mean? Like Tom Brady, after he won, well, he always fucking wins, but he was still relevant. And last year, the Rams, outside of like the first 3 games where we're like, it's a little rough, but they'll come back, were completely irrelevant. I mean, nobody was talking about Sean McVay other than like, damn, what the fuck happened? You know what I mean? So,
right.
There, I'm looking at him and tight end. I want to wait on my boy Aaron Jones is sitting there waiting for me. There's a few guys there that I really, really like.
There's someone I'm surprised you haven't mentioned yet. And he's just jumping right out on the screen to me, and I'm surprised you haven't just jumped on him.
Yeah, I don't know who you're talking about. But who I am gonna go with here is Christian Kirk.
It was Jordan Love. Wow.
Oh yeah,
I figured that's who you were talking about.
Yeah.
No,
Jordan Love. I thought you would have hopped all over that.
No, to be honest, man. So, we talk about Colin Cowherd a lot on this show, or at least I do. You don't like him. I think he's polarizing and interesting, which is why I like him. But he made a good point, which was when Mahomes was coming out, they were leaking practice tape. Jordan Love, they've been hiding that shit. And I don't like that, man. I really don't. I think he's going to be a huge bust. I remember being on the phone with Matt thinking that we were going to draft Patrick Queen because we had just moved up. And I literally dropped my phone on the ground because I couldn't believe that we didn't take him. So,
that was a good night.
The only person there's 2 players that I almost went with there. I almost went with D-Hop, and I'm only saying this because I don't think he's going to make it back to me, but D Hop and Jahan Dotson. So that's
Yeah.
the only two players that I considered. But Ben, you're up. Who you got?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned D Hop because he's not going to make it back to you.
Yeah, no, I don't blame it.
That's a smart move. Very smart move right there.
Yeah,
Very.
it's going to be interesting to see where he lands. I'm hoping that it's not Tennessee in this situation. I know this is just our mock draft.
Oh
but
God, man, that would be terrible.
If I was drafting him in real life and he ended up there, I'd probably quit the league.
So what's your ideal landing spot for D Hop? He's been rumored to the Titans. The Patriots have seemed like a likely landing spot. Do you like that one? I'm just gonna throw it out just as a great white hope. I really hope the Bills somehow make that shit work. I know they don't really seem like a contender anymore, but man, that would be so good for me having Josh Allen in so many leagues.
So real quick, Pete this. Just hear me out because you know I'm a conspiracy theorist. Stephon Diggs has raised a huge stink there, right? What if they traded Stephon Diggs, got a haul, signed D Hop, D Hop's your number one, and then filled out the roster with a bunch of decent guys? Go get you a Jerry Jeudy, go get you, guys of that nature who
Did
are
you
not in
say
that upper tier,
but
but
where are you gonna trade Stephon Diggs? Like, why would you trade him?
because he's not showing up. He's 28. They've already had a bunch of issues with him and stuff. Good pick. I like Madison there.
Good pick. That was my other choice there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had
If
to.
it wasn't if it wasn't Christian Kirk, Madison was also in consideration. But I think that even with Calvin Ridley there, Christian Kirk's going over 1,000 yards and at least 6 touchdowns. What were we saying? Oh, so why would they do it?
Saints love.
Cap relief, compensation, and to be honest with you, a little bit less stress. He was a little bit stressful in Minnesota, and he's vocal here. I like passionate players, but at a certain point, you're screaming at me on the sideline right now.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know. I think the whole thing, I'm on the side that I think it might have been overblown by the media, the Stephon Diggs thing that is.
Right.
But we didn't even get into like the DeAndre Hopkins. So, but we'll do that real quick. But I do want to go into the Madison and Kendre Miller pick. But Alexander Madison, yeah, I mean, I love that pick. I think he's a RB1 in round 8. Like that's honestly a massive steal. Like I said, Miles Sanders, I wasn't really a big fan of just going into the league in general. So to have Alexander Madison and Kendre Miller both fall to me, who Kendre Miller might not be great right away, but I love the talent there. Like not even just as a Saints fan, just as a prospect. I think he's a great prospect. Dude ran for over 1,700 yards or 1,600 yards, something like that. At TCU, his final year, had like 6 yards per carry, just completely balled out. And then he made Zach Evans transfer because he took his job. So love Kendre Miller. I think as a Saints fan, that's something that gets me really excited. And then obviously we had Mother Saints guy go, Alvin Kamara right before him. And honestly, if Alvin was there, I would have really considered Alvin there too, just because I think Alvin is also getting really slept on. And I'm leaning a little bit off of the suspension as much, just because like I don't think the suspension is going to be as bad. I think he may get about 6 games and he'll probably appeal it and they'll get down to like 4, so and I think Alvin is still a great player, and if the offense is rejuvenated, which it looks like it might be with Derek Carr, I'm not saying I have crazy high expectations, but like shut the fuck up, Alex. I really hate you right now. But I think Derek Carr can make the offense, movable. Like I think we're gonna be we have the opportunity to be at minimum top 15 to top 10 offense. And I mean that's what Derek Carr has already done with the Raiders. So but before we go into your pick, Ben, I did want to talk a little bit about the DeAndre Hopkins things, like I said, because I wanted to talk about his landing spot, because that's obviously one of the bigger things that could impact fantasy just throughout. And to be able to get him, say, an elite wide receiver who was on pace, like me and you, Alex, talked about this multiple times, because I was considering making a trade for Hopkins at one point. Dude was on pace for like 1,600 yards last year, at 32, 33, however old he is. Let's see, I keep guessing at age when I can have it right in front of me. He's 30 years old.
He was on pace for 1,400 plus yards last year
Yes.
in the games he played. I mean, it's insane at his age.
So what's your let's each go favorite landing spot. Like real quick before we get back into the mock draft, because I see you paused it. So Alex, what's your favorite landing spot?
I'm gonna go with it was Ben's pick, so I'm gonna let Ben go first.
Okay, well, Ben, you go first.
So I'll take the easy route out. If we're talking between, the two teams that have been mentioned, right, New England and Tennessee, I think definitely there with Belichick and that New England offense. I think that gives Mac Jones another weapon. It allows him to progress in his game, and I think that would be the better landing spot out of those two teams.
Okay, so you say the Patriots. I like the Patriots. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the low hanging fruit. I'm gonna take the Chiefs, man. I think that they don't have a number one wide receiver at all. Travis Kelce is obviously their number one, but imagine if I mean, there's no way that it could be a net negative for the Chiefs to take on DeAndre Hopkins. He's their immediate number two target to me behind Travis Kelce still, just because you're not going to beat the connection between Mahomes and Kelce, but easily the number one wide receiver.
Yeah, mine would be the Giants, actually. So I don't know if it would really work money wise. Yeah, I don't know if it would work money wise because I know they still have to obviously pay Saquon, which it should definitely be a priority for them. But if they can somehow get D-Hop in there, dude, whew, that offense looks nice. Like you have D-Hop, Saquon, Waller, and like you said, yeah, the white Mike Vick. Like let's go get it in. So let's get this draft started. Let's try to speed things up a little bit because we might have to get another break in. But so yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get your pick in, Ben. After taking DeAndre Hopkins, we had a couple other big names go. Like I said, Keenan, James Cook, Alvin Kamara, David Njoku, and then Jordan Love. Finally, unpause the draft, Alex. But who are you gonna take right here, Ben?
So if he continued to be the number one quarterback there in 49er land, I'd go with Trey Lance. But I think with his future sort of up in the air, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. I think he just has way, way, way too many weapons there, right? And I know this is Dynasty, and he's only going to be around probably another couple years or so, but if you're in win now mode and super flex, Dynasty league, you got to take him here in round 9.
I was praying that he was going to be there for me, to be honest.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers round 9 in a dynasty startup is honestly, it seems kind of criminal because he may not be there long, but I think you're going to get fucking 2 great years out of him. And I just took him in one of our dynasty startups, and Alex, in our Superflex that we did, and I loved it. I got him at like the 10th or 11th round or something like that. And I was just like, dude, this is crazy. I got him and Matt Stafford, by the way, who's another big quarterback sleeper to think of whenever you're in those dynasty startup mock-up drafts. Like Matt Stafford was really hurt last year, broke his back. So you have to take that in consideration. But if he's healthy and he's, that offense is rolling, he's going to be great, especially when you're getting him in like the 13th, 14th fucking round and stuff like that. So who are you taking with this pick, Alex? After Ben's pick with Aaron Rodgers, we had Russ Wilson, David Montgomery, and Kadarius Toney. And I'm a big fan of David Montgomery. I would have probably really liked him if he could have made it back.
I definitely would have too. I considered Trey Lance here, but I'm actually going to go Derek Carr.
Nice.
I think
after talking shit about the Saints, you hypocrite.
I didn't talk any shit. All I did was sip my drink, to be honest.
You're
but
a dickhead.
He's got weapons. He is gonna end up being a back end. It may not look pretty, but to me, he's gonna end up being a back end RB1, high end RB2 or RB1, quarterback 1, high end quarterback 2. He's gonna have weeks where he's gonna blow up because he's got the ghost of Michael Thomas, slant god himself. Chris Olave is going to get more coverage rolled towards him. Juwan Johnson's going to come out and do something. He's got weapons there. You know what I mean? So I just don't see him having a bad season. I see 30 plus touchdowns, under 15 interceptions. it's a run first offense, so I don't love it. But if we're talking about, I didn't get one of the top tier guys, and in the 5th round and the 9th round, I came away with Daniel Jones and Derek Carr. I'm good with it.
No, yeah, I
Um,
agree. I think Derek Carr in the 9th round in the Superflex league is honestly great because it's like you said, he may not be amongst those elite guys, but he has elite guys around him. So those are the type of like QB2s that you want to get in Superflex leagues.
100%. This guy here, I'm actually going to make a little bit of a
Oh,
homer pick.
fuck. I saw Mike Williams went. Sorry. I wanted Mike Williams really bad to make it to me.
If Mike Williams was here, I was going to go him. I'm actually going to take AJ Dillon.
Well, I wouldn't have gotten him anyway, it looks like.
No, you wouldn't have gotten him. So I wanted to go Mike Williams because his spike weeks are probably better than any other wide receiver spike weeks outside of the top tier guys of anybody. I mean, he has those huge games where it's almost 200 yards and 2-3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And so that's what I consider. But I went AJ Dillon, start working on my RB3. Aaron Jones health has been up there. He's 28 years old. AJ Dillon, we're going to be a run first offense. We're actually going to run Matt LaFleur's offense this year since A-Rod is out.
Hopefully.
And
They
I
should have
think
did
that
that last year.
I think he's going to have a pretty big season. I see him coming in as a high end RB3, back end RB2. So
let me ask you this. I know this is Dynasty and redraft. Well, how highly are you taking him? Are you taking him like 7th, 6th round?
AJ Dillon?
Yeah, are you taking him like say ahead of Aaron Jones then?
No, not ahead of Aaron Jones, especially not if I'm in win now mode. But
well, like I said, this is redraft.
What is redraft?
ESPN, just normal redraft where you redraft every year.
Oh, I thought you were saying this specific draft was redraft. I was like, no, brother, it isn't. But yeah, no, in redraft, am I taking him ahead of Aaron Jones? No, because Aaron Jones is going to catch a lot of passes, but I would probably take him within a round or two after that.
Okay.
Which I think in the years past, I mean, the gap between the two was probably much, much bigger. So I think he's going to get the work on the ground. I think he's going to have like last year's back half Isaiah Pacheco type of season where he's going to be a solid RB3, RB2 type of guy. But yeah, I mean, I like him a lot. It is a homer pick. I thought about going James Conner there just because he's going to get a lot of usage. But to be honest, I really don't like James Conner. So
yeah, James Conner is that guy no one wants to pick that everyone just does. And that's kind of how Cam Akers is now. You drafted Cam Akers earlier. It's like no one really wants to pick him, but everyone kind of does. So
after that, we had Rashee Rice, and actually Ben already made his pick going into Sam Laporta.
Before we let Ben go into a little bit, or I guess you went on with mine, pause it again, no, because we're going to have to take a quick break. And then once we come back, Ben, you can dive into your Sam Laporta pick, which I love, by the way. He's just been getting so many great reviews in OTA, so I love that pick. But I'm going to let you dive in, and we will be right back, guys. This is our last break, and then we will come back, finish up these last 4 rounds a little bit quicker. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. That picture is going to be popping up, so just click that button, but it is down here. And we'll be right back.
All right. So let's keep it to 2 minutes apiece.
Well, we're just here. We're back. We're wrapping up. We had a little technical difficulty on the last one. Yes. We had a little technical difficulty on the last one, but we are back. We are finished with the draft. We were just going to go through our teams real quick, show you who we got, talk about maybe some of our favorite sleepers that we got, and then maybe what we didn't like, and then wrap out there. But make sure you guys like and subscribe. We have a couple more mock drafts that we're going to do throughout the off season. It's July. Not much to talk about really till training camp comes. So we'll probably, knock out a couple more mock drafts. Hopefully maybe we can get some other people on from the league too. Maybe Eli or, some Shane or something like that.
Let's get Mark on the league.
Yeah, good old Mark. Good old Mark. I would love that. But yeah, so I kind of rushed through it on the last one, but I'm going to go through it a little bit slower now since we have some actual time and we're not going to fuck things up. But my first round pick was Justin Herbert. Amon-Ra St. Brown after that, T. Higgins. I really like that Nick Chubb pick in round 4, and then also love my next couple picks, honestly, with Quentin Johnson, Jared Goff, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, Kendra Miller, Tyler Lockett, Big Clock Brock, and then John Mechie, Samaje Perine, Deuce Vaughn, and Juwan Johnson. So, like, really from Big Clock Brock all the way to, like, Nick Chubb, I think I really nailed those rounds, honestly. Whenever you're
I got to be honest, dude. I don't love giving you props. However, that might be one of the best series of picks, as the board fell to you, that I've seen in some of our mock drafts and shit. So
yeah,
kudos to you.
I'm very happy with how that draft played out for me, honestly. I have a lot of depth at running back, and I think I'm still young enough to where I can, even if like I don't do great this year, I don't have to worry about blowing things up or going heavy and, investing into the draft or anything. I can kind of just take things as they naturally come.
I'll trade you.
Shut the fuck up. But I'm very excited about this, especially getting guys like Tyler Lockett and Kendra Miller and Block Purdy. Big Block Purdy in the 10th, 11th, and Kendra in the 9th round. I think those are going to be massive steals for me, and especially in dynasty leagues. Tyler, he's older, but like, again, I said this in the last video, I think he still has another 2-3 years to where he'll play at, if not an elite level, a very good level. So Ben, why don't you go through your team? And well, I didn't mention my favorite. Well, I did actually. My favorite picks were the Kendra Miller and Tyler Lockett and Alexander Madison. So Ben, why don't you go through your team, talk about your favorite picks, who maybe you weren't, and just tell us who you drafted, obviously.
Yeah, well, just to go through your picks real quick, I think the Kendra Miller pick, I would have taken David Montgomery before him. I think it was just a tad early.
That's the only person there that I said to myself, I would have taken Montgomery over Kendra Miller.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I get your thoughts with the dynasty, and you just don't know.
So yes, that was
it's going to be a run first offense too, I think.
That was my reasoning there, is I went a little bit older with my running backs. So like I said earlier, I try to go in my running back scenario, at least with this one, I tried to think to a scenario to where I could win now, but still at least have enough talent to where I could have stuff to last me the next 2, 3, 4 years. So that's why, and then also I'm a Saints fan, obviously. So that's what led me over Kendra to David Montgomery. But even in a real draft, honestly, even though I do think David probably will finish better than Kendra this year and maybe even a better running back, I would probably still go Kendra, because, I mean, again,
long term for sure.
Yeah, we're going long term, and then also just get your guys, man. Sometimes, like in the 9th round, if I miss on Kendra Miller in the 9th round, that's not going to kill my season, So,
especially when you follow it up with Tyler Lockett in the 10th, I mean, that's a steal,
right? So that's just something that I was very happy about, and I was willing to take that risk, as opposed to going with the older running back, in quotations, even though I think he's only like 25, who's not really that old, but the older running back in David Montgomery.
Yeah, and I love your round 12, 14, and 15 picks. 12 and 14, I think, are definite playmakers for their teams. I think we were talking about comps. We were talking about comps earlier for John Mechie. I see him as a Jalen Waddle guy, right? I think they're the same build, same speed, right? They played together, right? I think they actually looked forward to maybe being drafted on the same, to the same team, and being able to play together again. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for them, and we'll see how Mechie is post his medical issues and stuff. But if he gets back up to the way he was playing at Bama, I think he's going to be a true number 1 wide receiver, right? I think he's like the next Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill guy. So it's a big leap of faith, but if you get that type of talent in what 12, right? Is that
Yeah.
12-8? I mean, that's a heck of a steal. So we'll see how that works out.
I don't know if I agree with you, but hey, thank you. I'm going to take the compliment. I do love John Mechie though. I don't necessarily agree with the comp. I just think they're different players, but I do really like John Mechie, and I was a bigger fan of Mechie coming out of college than Alex was.
Well, I think with the Jalen Waddle comp that they're both like right around that 5'10", 5'11", 185-ish, build, and same speed. So we'll see how things go for him. I think rooting for someone who's had medical issues and then been able to persevere through it and still continue to play at like the highest level, right? Like he's going to be a starting wide receiver in the NFL. Like how many people in the world are able to say that, right? And we'll see how things work for him.
Yeah, no, he's definitely somebody that you like to root for. But let's go over your team and let's talk about yours now. Who are your favorite picks? Obviously, you can tell the people who you drafted and who was your least favorite pick, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up with Alex's. So we're not here all night.
Yeah, so Jay Jetta, number one. I think he's the number one wide receiver in the league. I think that was a no-brainer there at the 7th pick. C-Mac, I think if he continues to stay healthy, obviously still the number one running back in the league, especially in a PPR league. I think one of my best picks, or the ones that I love, D-Hop there in the 8th. The guy came out and said he thinks he's going to play till he's like 39, right? So, we think about aging players, and once they start to turn 30-ish or so, definitely for running backs, 28, 29, 30, that's the end of their tenure. But D-Hop came out and said he feels like he's 21 again, right? Yeah. So,
well, and what I love about that is that ironically, he's playing for was just with the Cardinals, but to me, he's a Larry Fitzgerald type, where he doesn't win with speed. He wins with elite route running, the ability to snag the ball. Dude's got giant hands, just like Larry Fitzgerald. So if there's a guy who I think has the skill set to last into his mid to late 30s, I think it is D-Hop. I think it is Devontae Adams, guys who win with their knowledge of the game and their skill set in that regard rather than just pure speed. So, I think that's a phenomenal pick in the 8th round.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's someone, like we're talking about Tyler Lockett, but DeAndre Hopkins is just like that, too. Like we called him an elite sleeper. DeAndre Hopkins may not be an elite sleeper because everyone knows his name, but he's an elite steal at where did you get him, in the 8th round? Because that's a guy who could legitimately end as a top 5 wide receiver and no one would be shocked.
For sure.
So and to get that in the 8th round, that's how you win championships right there. So that I do love that pick too.
Yeah. So there was a wide receiver that I thought wasn't to my team, but to the team before me, Marquise Brown in the 7th round. I think with the vacated targets there in Arizona and what he was able to do when D-Hop wasn't there, and I don't know, I think the first 6 games he was putting up close to 18 to 20 fantasy points a game. I think that's a really good steal there in the 7th round. Sam Laporta, we'll see how that works out there. For me in the 10th. That's my first tight end taken off the board for me. Again, he only had 5 or 6 touchdowns at Iowa. So, tight end spot, replacing TJ Hawkinson. Hopefully the volume is there. Jamison Williams is suspended for the first 6 games, right? I think. So yes. Again, hopefully that volume is there for Jared Goff to get him the ball. Amon-Ra St. Brown is definitely going to steal some of the sun god there. And definitely Jahmyr Gibbs as well. So taking the Detroit, tight end there. First of all, rookie tight ends don't always fare so well in the receiving game. But then, with a couple other elite targets there, and how well they speak of Jahmyr Gibbs and how much they want to be able to get him the ball. We'll see how that one plays out for me.
Right.
But based on the reviews that he's gotten based in camps and saying that he's been the best player on the field, yeah, I think it's someone that you couldn't pass up at that point.
No, I totally agree. And like we were talking about earlier, like Ohio State's like tight end university. They're just a machine. They fucking pump them out every single year.
Ohio State, where the fucking
Iowa
flag
State
on the play again?
Iowa State. Sorry, Iowa State.
It's not even Iowa State. It's Iowa.
Iowa.
That's what I said. Iowa.
Flag on the play. Blind left referee.
I said Iowa.
15-yard penalty.
We're coming back to this in the attic because y'all motherfuckers.
Oh, dude, I can't.
I said
wait.
Iowa State. I said, I definitely.
Hey Ben, when this video comes out, he's gonna say Iowa, and there's gonna be a little glitch, and then we're gonna start talking.
Iowa.
Iowa. How about right?
Let me finish my point, goddammit. But that's tight end university, and one of the things that I was gonna say that Ben you did bring up is that you worry about the rookie tight end production this year, but long term, I love the landing spot. So I think that's a phenomenal pick. So Alex, let's go on to your team. Let's start from the top. Tell us who you drafted.
For me on our page, can you scroll over so I can just look at the computer screen?
Yeah. And so let's start from the top and tell us who you drafted and who's your favorite pick and maybe who was your least favorite.
Yeah, so obviously I went out strong with 4 straight wide receivers that, in my opinion, I think all 4 wide receivers that I took in the first 4 rounds, AJ Brown, then Garrett Wilson, then JSN, then Drake London. In the next 2 years, I think all 4 of them have the opportunity to be wide receiver ones. Obviously, AJ Brown and Garrett Wilson, both are. AJ Brown's pretty much guaranteed outside of injury to be a wide receiver one. Garrett Wilson is probably got the highest ceiling, whether it's based on hype or not, just with Aaron Rodgers going there. To be a wide receiver one. And then JSN, I told you about, his profile is insane to me. Same with Drake London. The target share that he earned in that Falcons offense is insane. And I don't think Desmond Ritter's the guy. I think him being in the 4th round is more projection for me, that they're going to end up with one of the top guys, either Drake May or Caleb Williams there in Atlanta, because I don't see Desmond Ridder as the guy, long term. So do I think he could be a wide receiver 2 this season? Yeah, but he's my wide receiver 4. So I like that.
I would just like to say before you go on, honestly, I really hope the Falcons don't end up with Caleb Williams just as a Saints fan, because as a Saints fan, if I have to have a division with Bryce Young and Caleb Williams and possibly even fucking Drake May going to the Bucs, when we're stuck with Derek Carr, oh my God, that is not.
Don't say stuck with Derek Carr. Come on now.
That's not going to be fun. And I am going to say stuck with Derek Carr.
Ben, he said it and he meant it. So let's leave it where it is.
I'll say it with my fucking chest.
Pull his card.
So after London, I got Daniel Jones, J.K. Dobbins, Cam Akers, Christian Kirk, Derek Carr. The quarterbacks so go ahead.
Yeah, can we go back to like your 4th wide receiver pick though?
Drake London?
Yeah, so you've got guys like Nick Chubb, Najee on the board. Like, why not take one of those guys?
So Nick Chubb I don't love, only because he's old. Literally the only reason. And then who was the other guy you just mentioned?
Najee Harris.
Najee, I don't love because they're already even the quarterback, or even the I think it's the offensive coordinators already talking about how much they need to get his backup involved.
Jalen
Warren. So the only reason to draft Najee that high is just based on volume, which when we're talking about running backs and young running backs, that's what we want. But he's already had an injury history, and his production is not because he's a big play threat. It's because he's just going to get touches. So I do like him, but when we're talking about dynasty, do I see a giant difference between J.K. Dobbins and Najee Harris? Not at all. And I think J.K. Dobbins is in a bigger play offense and is more of a home run hitter than Najee Harris is. So being able to grab J.K. Dobbins in the 6th fucking round compared to Najee going in the 4th, I'll take J.K. Dobbins all day. Cam Akers is the clear number 1, and actually over the last few games of the season, Cam Akers was a top 5 dynasty running back. Or
no, he was
not dynasty, but top 5 running back.
He was
in
going
the back
hard
half of that season. I think that I stole J.K. Dobbins and stole Cam Akers in the 6th, 7th round when I was able to start with 4 elite wide receivers. My favorite pick of the draft, I don't like Danny Dimes, but to grab him in the 5th round after the season he had last year, I think that was a steal. When I took A.J. Dillon, when I look back at it, I might have grabbed either Ingram or Laporta, or even James Conner. So one of those 3 is one of the guys that I feel like maybe I would have taken them over A.J. Dillon at the time. But the way my quarterbacks shook out, being that I didn't get one of those top tier elite guys, I took, I think, 3 or 4 quarterbacks in this draft. And that's because I took 4. So I took Daniel Jones, Derek Carr, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance. So I got the upside in Trey Lance, the floor in Mac Jones, the floor in Derek Carr, and the floor in Daniel Jones. But he's got a lot of upside as well. So I actually really enjoyed the way this team played out. When I look back at it, do I maybe take one running back, or maybe so I wouldn't go quarterback, but do I take maybe one running back ahead instead of taking Drake London? Maybe. So Nick Chubb, not a bad choice there, but ultimately when I look at how the draft fell to me, I felt like the value was more in Drake London over Nick Chubb, especially Nick Chubb being 28. Did we say 27?
27.
Yeah. And I think this year also, Nick Chubb is a slight regression candidate, just being that Deshaun Watson is going to come in and he's going to command passing the football. They've got a shit ton of wide receivers now. They got David Njoku at tight end. Jerome Ford, I could see having a small Kareem Hunt type of role without all the talent that Kareem Hunt possessed out of the backfield. But again, this is Dynasty. I always look for a 2-year time frame to win. I'm not always looking for a win now. If not, I definitely would have gone James Conner. As I'm looking back just at who was drafted kind of around the guys that I took, I would definitely take James Conner. I would have taken, maybe Devontae Adams instead of Drake London or Mark Andrews or some of the guys like that. Just to give a quick shout to a computer team that drafted the first 2 picks of Team 10, having Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson. Those 2 players, if they hit their ceiling, we're all fucked, no matter who we drafted.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson as your first 2 picks, that's pretty elite. And they were still able to come out with Ken Walker, who I'm down on, but I still think he's actually going to have quite a good role, at least for this year. And get Devontae Adams and Michael Pittman as your 2, George Kittle. Just looking at some of the other teams in this league, that team right there could blow us all out of the water. And Roshan in the 12th round is a fucking steal.
Yeah.
Especially when he could be the starting running back for the Chicago Bears.
Also came away with Dante Foreman too. So
Deontay
likely
Foreman,
coming away with a starting running back.
He's coming around with a starting running back in the 12th through the 14th round. So, as much as I love my team and did I love, I've never, I mean, you can ask Matt, I've never gone two wide receivers in a row, probably, especially not in the first two rounds, but definitely three or four. But I did like the way the board fell to me. I'm a huge JSN and Drake London fan. I've been standing for him all the last year or two. So, you know, I can't back off my team now that I've drafted him, but
Yeah. So
slight changes, but that's it.
I do have two questions before we go ahead and wrap up, and I don't know if you had any questions, Ben, but I did want to talk to you about, well, for one, I wanted to compliment you on the Cam Akers pick, because I do think that's kind of like a James Conner-esque pick, where
Yeah.
that, and I think I mentioned that earlier, where this is a player that no one probably is going to want to draft, because I saw him and I willingly passed him up, and I was like, yeah, it just doesn't feel good to draft him.
Right.
But he's a player that's
It's not
probably
the sexy pick, but
he's probably going to be really freaking productive, especially if that offense stays healthy. So I did really like that pick. But I wanted you to go in about going over Derek Carr over your guy Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. So take us through that pick again, you know, because I know I don't think you went into that much detail about it when it actually happened. So what was your reasoning behind going Derek over? You know,
I didn't.
For everyone that knows, you are the Packer guy,
So
obviously.
I don't know. Do you need glasses?
I had those
What?
picks over him.
Ben, can you?
I thought
can
he
you,
picked. I thought he picked Christian Kirk, and then it went around. Did it not go that way?
Well, he did pick Christian Kirk, but he didn't take David. God, David. Now you got me saying David.
Did I say David Carr?
No, you said I took Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers and over Jordan Love. I took Derek Carr after Jordan Love and after Aaron Rodgers.
Well then that's just I guess a mistake. I thought it went the other way. I thought you took Christian Kirk and then took Derek Carr.
No. Listen, I'm just fucking with you, but I would have taken Aaron Rodgers there over Derek Carr, over Russell Wilson, over Jordan Love. But I mean, they were taking Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson all in a row before it got to me. And I didn't want to pass up on Derek Carr there.
Yeah. No, I mean that's true. Yeah. I mean, yeah, if it went the other way around, yeah, it definitely makes sense. What were you trying to say, Ben?
Well, you made the statement that you didn't want to pass up on Christian Kirk, right, at that spot. You think he's going to end up with, I can't remember how many yards you said, over 1,000 yards. I don't think that's
1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. Yeah.
You don't
he already
think,
has
you don't think Christian Kirk will have over 1,000, Ben?
No, I don't think so. Not with the addition of Calvin Ridley and not with old Tank Bigsby there. I honestly
disagree.
Tank Bigsby, who was not an elite pass catcher and also not an elite rusher, but that's fine.
No, okay, but I
That
think
was
they're
rude.
going. But I think they're going to try to get Etienne his touches, right? And then they brought Bigsby in for a reason. And they also have now the addition of Ridley. So I don't see the volume there for Kirk. I mean, if it works out for him, great. I just don't see it.
I think Christian Kirk's Tyler Lockett. Even if he doesn't get 1,000 yards, I think he's going to get the touchdowns. He's just a very good player. He's going to be one of the better slot wide receivers in the NFL for years to come, I believe.
I think Christian Kirk thinks he's playing basketball and he's like 50 years old. So, like, he's still got another 20 years left in his career or something.
What the fuck?
I don't even know.
I don't even know
what that means.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, what the fuck kind of metaphor is that?
But that's so I don't know what that means. But Christian Kirk. So the reason why I took him there is because I see he's already got the chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. And not only that, he had elite production last year. Dude was pretty nasty, to be honest. So another year in this offense with Doug Peterson, I think Zay Jones is a great number 3, but really he was their number 2 last year. So do I see it where, he can have that season where it's, so say Calvin Ridley has 12, 13, 1,400 yards, but has 5 touchdowns. I could see Christian Kirk with somewhere between 900 and 1100 yards, but he has 8+ touchdowns. You know what I mean? So I think that Christian Kirk already has the chemistry, has already been in the offense. So I think Christian Kirk starts off faster.
Yep.
Calvin Ridley is coming off a season where he didn't play at all. Well, a season and a half where he didn't play because of the suspension, and he's 28, and he's never been in this offense before. So, do I think that Calvin Ridley's going to have a good season? Absolutely. But do I think that Christian Kirk, stat wise, will be the de facto number one? I do this season. I think maybe next year, Calvin Ridley takes over as the full number one wide receiver, but then Christian Kirk is still the clear number two. I think it's not that they're on the same talent level, but I think it's a Jamar Chase, T. Higgins type of thing. I think it's gonna be a 1A, 1B, which, Kirk, they're obviously smaller, so I'm not making a literal comparison, but as far as their role in the offense, I don't think that I'm not high on Travis Etienne this year because they didn't even give him the usage that he probably should have gotten last year, which is surprising based on their college relationship. But I don't think that Tank Bigsby is going to play as big of a role. I think the biggest threat to Christian Kirk is going to be Evan Ingram, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I think they brought Bigsby in for a reason, right? And I think we've all
but
heard
that's more an
reports.
indictment on ETN than it is on the actual passing offense itself, I think.
I
Yeah,
agree.
but I think those touches still continue to get spread a little more. And now you brought Bigsby in and you brought Ridley in.
So
he I was just going to say that Kirk only had 1,100 yards last season. So if you continue to think he's going to be 1,000-yard receiver, I think that's just a bit of a stretch.
So to kind of both of your points, Tank Bigsby is like a capable pass catcher. I will give him that. But also more to Alex's point, Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk have incredible chemistry already. They literally, if you follow Trevor Lawrence on Instagram like I do, him and Christian
He's
Kirk
all over it.
he's all over it. Like they're like best friends. So I
Yeah.
think that chemistry does mean something because they're obviously very close together out off the football field and on the field. But also, one thing that what's his face Doug Peterson has said time and time again is that they want to be one of the most pass heavy offenses in the NFL. So to kind of bring it back a little bit more to really this, you can spread it even to both of your points because they are going to spread the ball around. So that can be a negative for Christian Kirk, but it also can be a positive because more passing opportunities means that Christian Kirk probably being the favorite of that will be a big benefactor of that. So I think just having a piece of the Jaguars in general, honestly, is a smart move in fantasy this year. I think that team is just going to be really good, and I think Trevor Lawrence is an elite prospect that's going to continue to get those players around him better. But I think we all had some really great drafts. We've all had some really good picks. Honestly, drop it in the comments. Let us know whose team you like the best. I'm not going to lie. I kind of think mine was the best team today, not even being biased.
It wasn't.
I think it was. But
It wasn't.
make sure you guys are liking and subscribing. We're going to have some more mock drafts coming. Hopefully we can get back Ben a little bit more often for some more episodes, more mock drafts, more rankings episodes. But yeah, we're going to have some more stuff coming. We have our IDP episode, our cornerstone for offense and defense. Go check those out. Once we have this dropped, you'll be able to probably have some more news coming out and keep checking out our community page as well, where we have a lot of cool things going on there, talking about like our favorite sleepers, some of our favorite people that we really just don't, or not, I guess not favorite, but some of our biggest avoids going into the year and just like different news around the league and stuff like that. But yeah, just like and subscribe, guys. Make sure you tell us what you think in the comments, and we will see you next time. Peace.
I've got my list of avoids 1 through 15. Everyone
Okay.
on Alex's team.
Last little zinger. I like it.
Oh, I loved having Ben on for the first and last time. Anyway, all right, y'all.
Hey,
Peace,
I
y'all.
appreciate you guys having me on.
Hey,
Look
loved
forward
having
to
you on,
being
buddy.
the next one.
Loved
Yeah.
having you on.
We're gonna have you on again, man. We're gonna figure that out. And hey, if y'all think Ben sucks, because if you see my fantasy team, it definitely does. Rip his ass apart in the comments. Tell him make fun of his hair. Say he has big eyes. I don't really care. Get personal. Make him cry.
Yeah.
I'm
Sweating in here in my office in the backyard in Louisiana. It's like 100 degrees out here, so like no judgment.
Well,
I'm gonna turn the AC on.
You probably should have some AC on. Yeah, I've had my fan going the entire time because I was like, "Fuck that sound quality. It's hot as shit outside."
I was trying to do it for the pod, man.
Yeah, well, you
Look,
clearly
I
care
got the
more than I
AC
do.
I got the
Ben
AC
is more
unit back
committed.
there.
Ben is more committed to the
This
pod
shit is
than both
off
of
right
us.
now.
Clearly. Like, I mean, the motherfucker had a whole background set up and everything, too. And we've been going off of just bullshit for the last
I got
4
like
weeks.
a real microphone and everything,
right.
man. What the hell's going on?
I'm using a microphone. Alex needs to step his shit up. Go get a microphone, you little bitch.
God, I'm gonna buy this guy one
Wow.
for Christmas.
Yes, that was very intentional, and I'm looking directly in the middle of my screen because that's where your face is. So,
Well, let's be real, Matt. You're always looking up to me, you short little fucking midget. Anyway,
you're like an inch taller than me. Fuck off.
I'm at least 3 inches taller than you. All right, guys, it's been a wonderful episode. Glad we could work out a mock draft. Ben, so glad to have you. Love you, brother. Matt, go fuck
I hate
yourself.
you.
Until next time, y'all.
All right, he left. All right, all right, bye, guys.